The Supreme Court has resumed its hearing on a batch of petitions seeking the criminalization of marital rape. The centre, in the last hearing, had filed its affidavit opposing the criminalization of marital rape, saying, and arguing rather, that the matter is more of a social issue than a legal one. Now, beyond this, provisions within the BNS are also being challenged as it retains the marital rape exception in regards to sexual relations between a husband and wife. Legal immunity is essentially granted in cases where sexual intercourse or acts by a man with his wife do not constitute rape, as long as she is not under the age of 18. Now, crossing back over to my colleague Harish to get us more on this. Harish, when we talk about what's being said today in court, what are the key statements that are being made? All right, we'll try to reestablish that connection with my colleague Harish. But essentially, when we talk about the Supreme Court hearing on marital rape, that is still underway. At the moment, they have taken a break for lunch, but it has resumed another day. It's hearing on marital rape. Essentially, it's on a batch of pleas, 6 pleas, in fact, which are seeking the criminalization of marital rape. Now, in the last hearing itself, there were controversial arguments that had been made by the centre, where the centre had essentially opposed the criminalization, saying multiple statements, one of them being that it seems to be more of a social issue rather than a legal one. Now, to get us more on this, we're crossing back over to my colleague Harish. Harish, tell us more about the statements that are being made in the top court today in connection with the criminalization of marital rape.
Yes, the Supreme Court bench led by the Chief Justice Deva Chandrachud has finally started hearing batch of petitions seeking criminalization of marital rape. In fact, the Chief Justice said first, the Supreme Court will examine the constitutional validity of the exception which has been put in the rape clause, that is 375(2), which exempts sexual relationship between a husband and a wife, and only then it will go into the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the new criminal law, retaining the exception clause. And as you rightly said, the centre has filed an affidavit earlier saying, opposing all these petitions seeking criminalization of marital rape, saying that the protection of woman and child is a priority, but condemning every marriage as violent and every man as a rapist is not advisable. The government is also backed with the existing Indian rape law that carves out an exception for sexual relationship between husband and wife. The government asserted that the issue is more of a social than a legal one, which has a direct bearing on society in general, and if at all, if marital rape has to be criminalized, that is the job of the legislature and executive and not the judiciary, which essentially means that the government should, the judiciary, Supreme Court should stay away from this whole exercise. So therefore, this matter, the centre also, while opposing criminalization of marital rape, said a husband does not have any fundamental right to violate consent of wife, but attracting crime of rape, as recognized in India, to marriage can be excessively harsh and therefore disproportionate. And even as we are speaking, the hearing is underway in the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. Harish, do stay with us.